Haley Catarius runs. That's what she does. Her event of choice, 800 meters. And oh yes, she's good. She is the UMass Lowell record holder at 800 meters, both indoors and out. She is an All-American in both the 800 and the distance medley relay. We recently had a chance to sit down and talk with UMass Lowell 800-meter runner Haley Catarius. So now, that conversation. What makes Haley run?
It's definitely a passion for me. I've always loved sports ever since I was little, and I've always loved running, just, either competitive between my sisters or just sprinting, doing like gym class, capture the flag, up till now. Now it's much more work and much more of a drive than, playing a game, but it's definitely something that I wake up and I enjoy doing, but I constantly have to remind myself and motivate myself to keep working hard, because the benefits I'll eventually see them.
Well, can you point to a point in your life where it changed from just being fun to being something that you were driven to do and become very good at?
In high school, I was always, a decent athlete, but I wouldn't say standout. There was a girl in my high school that she was a senior when I was a sophomore, and you would definitely consider her a standout, Ashley Hubbard. She was an amazing 400 runner, and I didn't consider myself a standout like that until my senior year, where I had decided that I wanted to run the 600 indoors to help my 300 hurdle outdoors. And until that point, again, I was like, mediocre, did pretty well at the state meets and Class B meets, but never really made it to that New England or, all-state first place standard. And I had always hoped, and that was my ultimate goal, was to win all states in one event. Really, the 300 hurdles was my goal. Senior year, I completely surprised myself and I think my coach and everyone else when I did very well in the 600 meters. I ended up winning states, getting second at New England, and going on to nationals in the 800 to place 12th. So it was a great experience, and I think that was the turning point where I saw myself as a could-be collegiate runner, and really inspired myself.
Why in high school did you decide to join? What possessed you to say, I'm gonna sign up and try out and see if I can make this particular team?
When I was little, we did compete in the summers once a week at, I think it was called Road Runners. They have it now still in Marshfield. And I would compete in that, and I would always do well at that. That kind of carried through. And also my older sister, Erin, she ran in high school for the track team. And, my dad and I were talking about it, and I said, I like running. I think I'm going to join. So it was just kind of natural for me.
So you were doing 300 hurdles, and you were a hurdler. You had that moment where you decided you wanted to run the 600 because you wanted to prepare for outdoor 300-meter hurdles. Is there a different mindset being a hurdler than being a middle distance runner?
Definitely, because at the beginning of high school, I was doing the 55 hurdles and then the 300 hurdles, and it's a more of a not intense, but powerful reaction that your body has to go through for the 55 hurdles. And even the 300 hurdles, you have to be very, very aggressive. And that does carry over to the mid-distance running events. But also, you have to think when you're running the 800 or even 600, you have to pace yourself. It's not an all-out sprint. And I think, going from 55 hurdles up to the 600 and the 300 hurdles, it did help. But definitely coming down, say, from the mid-distance to the hurdles helps even more, because you get that endurance and pacing speed to help you over in the hurdles. So
how much of running is physical? How much of it's mental toughness?
Physical, obviously it's very important to do your workouts, but again, if you trust your coaches and you trust that you've been doing the work, you stay injury free. A lot is mental. I don't know as in percents. I'd say it could be up to, when you come to a meet and you're in high competition, it can be up to 80% mental. You can defeat yourself before you even step on the line if you don't think that you're ready and if you aren't confident. So for me, the mental aspect is huge. And even during a race, where the 800, where you do have time to think when you're running, as position-wise, the 800 indoors and outdoors is a strategic event. So there's a lot of mental toughness that you have to deal with when running that.
While I was waiting for you, I asked some of the coaches, I said, what makes Haley such a good runner? And they all pointed to mental toughness. They use the word fearless a lot. How does one prepare the mind? How does one become mentally tough, or is that just born into somebody's nature?
I think it can be born in someone's nature, but I also think think it can be learned through practice and through experience. I'm not the most talented athlete out there usually when competing with Division I to Division II and III schools. So being prepared and being confident is one of the key factors in my success. And I think coming here to the gym and working out on the track 6 days, sometimes 7 days a week contributes to my mental toughness. And again, it goes back to motivation. There are points where I get tired and, it's frustrating if I don't run the times that I want or I'm not where I think I should be. But just going out on the track, and even if I'm racing, knowing that I gave the best that I could at the time that I had, it really has helped me. And I'm happy that other people have see that I, work hard and I am mentally tough. I try to be like that. So
push yourself. Are you your own toughest critic, you think?
Depends. Sometimes my coach, Mike Ekstrand, is definitely hard on me, but I appreciate what he does because I need someone there to push me as well because, I do have self-doubt and I need someone there to tell me what I need to fix and improve, and so he's there. But I am tough on myself, and even, my friend said, you did a great job. I'm like, oh, but I could have done this, or, there's several things that you can always improve on, but I try to do the best I can.
How good do you think you can be? Do you have some goals that maybe you haven't spoken about, but this is what you think you can accomplish, and this is what you're pushing yourself to?
Personally, I want to have realistic goals. My freshman year, I kind of set the bar too high for me, and then I got really disappointed. So through that experience, I've learned to set the bar at realistic goals. So for this year, one of my goals was to make it to indoor nationals individually, and I almost didn't do that, and luckily I was able to get that chance, and I ran the 800 and then I ran the DMR, the 800 leg in that. So I've already accomplished one of those goals, and I guess my next short-term goal would be to again make it to the nationals for outdoors, but to place higher than I did last year. I think that's an important goal. And I guess for next year is just to keep improving, and eventually I think I will be continuously ranked high on the national list for the 800. I don't know about cross country because I'm so new to it, but I do have high goals, but now I think they're more realistic. Always doing better than the previous year.
I think I've probably asked this before. When you're racing, when you're competing, are you competing against the other athletes in the competition? Are you competing against the clock? Are you competing against yourself and what your limits are?
I guess I would have to say that when I'm running, the clock is always in the back of my mind. But when I'm running in a race, I am a competitor and I want to beat the other girls in my race. So it doesn't matter if it's, a local meet or if it's Division II national championships. I want to beat the other girls in that race. And I think that really helps me when it comes to the big races because the time is going to come. If you're beating these girls, then you're going to get a good time regardless. So I guess I focus on the competitive side because I know in the end that's going to really help me to get the good times. Because sometimes, I think indoors this year, I did get caught up in the times that I had. And it was discouraging for me because I knew I could get a better time than that. And I was focused so much on the times that I wasn't focused on, you need to beat this girl. I'm racing and I'm looking at the clock and no, this girl's passing me, I got to beat her. And I lost a little focus on that, and I'd like to refocus on the competitive stage.
When we talk about this, we talk about it at times as work. Does it remain fun?
It does, but it definitely, at some points, it feels like, I have to do all these workouts, all this lifting, I have to eat right. There's so many aspects to being an athlete that you really have to, again, remotivate yourself. But I do love track. When I think about it all the time, I still love it. I love being a part of the team, even though track is an individual sport. It's still a team. I feel like, here at UMass Lowell, it's become a second family to me, and I feel very comfortable here. I'm just happy that I'm still running because I know a lot of people can lose motivation and not do as well in college as they have in high school. So.